midst of Carmel, who dwell in the 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 midst of Carmel. Be thy people with the rod of flock of thine heritage, who dwell solitary in the wood, in the midst of Carmel, who dwell 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 in the midst of Carmel.
A reading from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verses 1 to 4. Habakkuk, chapter 1, verses 1 to 4. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. Why dost thou show me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up and strike contention. Therefore the law is slack, and the judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteousness. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. The reading shall continue.
Reading continues from verses 5 to 11. Behold ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which ye will not believe, though it be told you. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land, to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. Their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. And they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his God. The reading continues.
The reading continues from verses 12. Art thou not for everlasting, O Lord my God, my Holy One? We shall not die. O Lord, thou hast ordained them for judgment. And, O mighty God, thou hast established them for correction. Thou art of pure eyes than that behold evil, and cast not look on iniquity. Wherefore, lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thou tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he, and makest men as fishes of the sea, as the creeping things that have no rule over them. They take up all of them with the angel. They catch them in their net, and gather them in their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net, and burn incense unto their drag. because by them their portion is fat, and their meat plenteous. Shall they therefore empty their net, and not spare continually to slay the nations? I will stand upon my watch, and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Here ends the reading.
For the last couple of weeks, for my personal meditation, I have been meditating from the book of Habakkuk. It's one of the minor prophets. I do believe it's the 8th minor prophet, book of minor prophecies. And I don't know how many of you have got a total idea about the book of Habakkuk. But many of the verses from this book are freely quoted by us. And one of the verses, a very powerful verse, that is quoted by Paul at least thrice in his epistles. At least thrice in his epistles. From Genesis to Revelation, it is that one chain of thought. That verse is a very powerful verse. That is from the book of Habakkuk. And we had a reading of chapter 1, verse 1 to chapter 2, verse 1. It's a very powerful reading. The very reading of that passage is a message to us. And with all fear and trembling, I love to say, this morning I'm handling one of the most sublime passage of the Bible, and I got that reverential fear and trembling within me. I don't consider myself worthy to dwell on this passage, but I'm yielding to the Holy Spirit. Not I, but the Holy Spirit will be greater than I am, and He will help you. I'll start with Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. This morning we are just going to have a brief, concise commentary on the book of Habakkuk. Chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. The just shall live by his faith. How powerful is this sentence? This sentence is able to shatter down the 1,000-year unquestionable reign of the papacy and able to create a Reformation church. We are what we are today. It is because this treasure was found out by one Martin Luther that was able to change the whole history of the Christianity. That was the fulfill of the parable. A man found a hidden treasure. So this verse is not an ordinary verse. It's a very, very powerful verse. A very sublime verse. A verse that was able to shatter down the papacy and is able to create the Reformation church, a missionary church. From the missionary church, we have got this charismatic church today. My dear brother, my dear sister, the righteous shall live by his faith. The righteous shall live by his faith. I got a very, you should bear with me, a long introduction. This has been quoted by Paul in Galatians 3:11 and Hebrew 10:38, Romans 1:16. Paul has quoted this thrice. And when I was reading those three passages, I was able to see three things. Number one, the just. Number two, shall live. Number three, by his faith. It's very marvelous. Go with me to Galatians 3:11. But that no man is justified by the law in the sight of God, It is evident for the just shall live by faith. And the law is not faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. We are living in these last days when there are erroneous teachings. No more law, it's only grace. No more law, it's only grace. We have to pity them. Either they are ignorant or they are the embodiment of evil perverters. Either they are ignorant or they are the embodiment of evil perverters. Here it says, and the law is not of faith. That's true. But the man that doeth them, doeth the law by grace, shall live in them. Here the man is important. The man is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident, for it is said, the just shall live by faith. Here the underlining factor is the righteous man, the just man. He shall live by faith. Very interestingly, I will go to Hebrew 10:38. I wonder why the Lord permitted. This should be quoted at least twice. Hallelujah, it's very interesting. I'm excited within me. Hebrew 10:38. Now the just shall live by faith. But if any man that draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. If any man draw back, if any man doesn't live by faith. Here it talks about living. Living by faith. Your lifestyle. If you live by faith, you are justified, you are saved. If any man draws back, backslides, if he doesn't live that life, he cannot be blessed. So there the underlining factor, living. The just living by faith. Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation. The gospel of Christ is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth. Here the underlining factor is believing. In 3 places in divine wisdom, God made Paul quote this verse, but in one place, the underlining factor is the righteous man, the just. In another place, the underlining factor, living, is lifestyle. Yet in the another place, the underlining factor, faith. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For therein, in that faith, is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith. Therein, in that faith, the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith. As it is written, the just shall live by faith. So there are a few preachers here. These 3 quotations of Habakkuk 2:4 will constitute a message itself, a sermon itself. One, the just, the other one is living, and the third one, the faith. The just shall live by his faith. So as we get into today's meditation, how the righteous will live by faith, or the just will live by faith, I love to give an introduction to the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk means, if you want to just dot down quickly, Habakkuk means one who embraces. One who embraces. The period is not known, but from his prophecy we understand it was before the Babylonian invasion. It was before the Babylonian invasion. So it was in 537 or something before that. It was before the Babylonian invasion. And it is said that would happen in his own days. It will happen in your days. Probably the Babylonian invasion took place in his days. and Daniel and others were taken into captivity in 606 BC. So probably little before that, a little before that. That's what I was able to see. That could be a little before that. And if that could be, very strongly, one of his contemporaries was Jeremiah. Jeremiah and Habakkuk must have lived in the same days. And whether personally Daniel, Ezekiel, whether Habakkuk knew them or not, I don't know. But they all were, they must have been contemporaries. They must have been contemporaries. So it was in the same background. The Israelites were taken into captivity, and Judah is sinking, getting degenerated. The moral values are lost. There is no justice. There is no truth. Idolatry is spreading. They started loving more the Babylonian style, the Chaldean culture. The Chaldean culture is pervading the Jews, and they even started having those Chaldean deities in their worship. They started celebrating Chaldean festivals. The heart of Jeremiah was broken. No more they honored the Lord's law. No more they had the Sabbath. They were not giving importance to Sabbath. Tithing stopped, etc., etc., etc. And this is the background in which Jeremiah prophesied. This is the background against which Habakkuk was prophesying. Now, Israel, 10 tribes are already taken into captivity. And this is the time Babylon was rising in the days of King Nebuchadnezzar, the father of Nebuchadnezzar. And Egypt was defeated. Assyria was defeated. And Babylon was rising up. So these prophets had a revelation or a forethought or revelation from God that one day Judah will also go into Babylonian captivity. It is the substance of their burden. It is the substance of their burden. Against this background, Habakkuk was prophesying. And in chapter 1 we see his problem and his perplexity. And we go with the verse 1 as the opening scene that opens the book to us. Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 1. There we see his pain, his prayer, his perplexity. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. Probably he is from a school of prophecies, and his profession was prophesying, and he was called a prophet. The burden of the prophet, because what he saw, verse 2, it starts with a prayer. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. It's a problem with many of us. It's the same perplexity, it's the same pain. He says, how long shall I cry? The other day, one of our believers was telling me the problem in his family. Problem after problem, problem after problem. How long they would suffer like this? How long? How long shall I cry? He was crying. Because of the burden he saw, he was crying. And the Lord was not, it doesn't seem the Lord was hearing him. Sister, brother, it's not your problem. The opening sentence of Habakkuk is the problem of you. It's not only the problem of Habakkuk. Not only the problem of a prophet, it's the problem of every preacher, every child of God, every servant of God. How long shall I cry? You pray for your son, you pray for your daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, children, grandchildren, your husband. How long, Lord, I can cry? How long I can pray for them? How long? Great burden. It was, I'm able to see that Habakkuk, we are sharing the burden of Habakkuk. Habakkuk is sharing our burden. How long shall I cry, and you will not hear? And cry out unto thee of violence, because of their misbehavior, because of violence, because of problems, because of sickness, because of financial crisis, of violence. How long I pray? How long I can cry? And you will not save. It doesn't appear you are delivering me from my crisis. Brother, it's not a prophecy to you. That's why I told you I am handling a very solemn subject today, because you and I are that Habakkuk. You and I are that Habakkuk. Lord, you are not delivering me from my crisis. I have been praying for so long. Verse 3. Why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? Lord, why did you allow me to see all these things? It would have been better that I died earlier. I mean, why do you allow this? Why do you allow this to see me? I am unable to do anything. I am unable to do anything. I see violence. I see misbehavior. I see sufferings. My father, my mother, they are not getting saved. They are not receiving the Holy Spirit. They are not believing in God. And they are suffering. They are going to die. I'm seeing every day they are dying. I'm praying for them. My husband, he's a drug addict. He's a drunkard. I'm seeing his sufferings. You're allowing me to see this. My grandchildren, Lord, our grandchildren, our neighbors, our friends. Lord, why do you allow this? Why do you allow me to see all these sufferings where I'm unable to do anything? You're not answering my prayers. When I see their sufferings, I pray. How long I could pray? How long I could pray? In the night watches, I could hear some crying, sobbing. I say, what's happening? Sister will be praying. Praying for some of the believers, praying for the family, relatives. How long? How long we can pray? And we see iniquity. And you cause me to behold grievance. For spoiling and violence are before me. One is spoiling the others, violence, evil things before me. And there are that raise up strife and contention. Everywhere, Sunday, prachana, valakku. Lord, why do you allow me to see all these things? I'm unable to do anything. The tata is unable to do anything. The party is unable to do anything. The children are unable to do anything. Father and mother fighting, hitting one another, trying to commit suicide, pouring kerosene, violence. Father is hitting the mother. Lord, how long I would see this? The children are becoming violent. Tata is unable to do anything. Why should I see this? It's better that I would have died before that. That was the pain and the perplexity of Prophet Habakkuk. Verse 4. Therefore, the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. Nobody is worried about the law. Nobody is worried about God's judgment. For the wicked doth compass about righteous. I see that in the office. I see that in the government. The wicked compasses about the righteous. Round கட்டி அடிக்கிறான். The righteous is suffering. The righteous is suffering. Why, Lord? I see that in the office. I see that in the neighborhood. The wicked compasses about the righteous, and God is not doing anything about it. I'm crying. It's better if I don't see that. It's better if I don't see that. For the wicked that compass about the righteous, therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. Which judgment is right? The first judge or the second judge? Which judgment is right? We don't know. We don't know. The wrong judgment proceeds, comes out. After 22 years, the High Court has regretted for a wrong judgment. That's after that person is executed. My dear brother, my dear sister, when Habakkuk was crying, finally God started answering. That's what the first reading we had from verse 1 to 4. Then 5 to 11, God gives the answer. God says, Habakkuk, don't worry, because the violence, iniquity, injustice, because of all the evil here, where the law is forgotten, where the judgment is lost, where the wrong judgment proceeds, don't worry. Now I'll punish these people. I will send the Chaldeans upon them, very rude people. They will come and spread this land, and they will do all these things to punish these wicked people. When God gave an answer to the cry of Habakkuk, Habakkuk's perplexity became greater. That's what we read from verse 12 to 17. When God said that I will send these Babylonians, Chaldeans, to punish these erring Jews, Judah, the tribe of Judah, the land of Judah, now the pain became more. The pain became more to the prophet. He got confused. In verse 12 he says, Art thou not from everlasting, O Lord my God, mine Holy One? Are you not from everlasting to everlasting? Can't you punish them? Why do you send the Chaldeans to punish them? Can't you do something to set these people right? Why do you send these Chaldeans? We shall not die. Our land should not perish. I pray for my husband. I pray for his salvation. Now you are showing me the punishment that is upon my husband. Lord, 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 why do all these things? First he prayed because of the evil in Judah. When the Lord says to root out this evil, he will bring greater evil, he is more perplexed. No, don't do like that, O Lord. We shall not die, O Lord. Thou hast ordained them for judgment. And O mighty God, thou hast established them for correction. Are you bringing those people to punish us? In verse 13 he says, Thou art of purer eyes than to behold the evil. Your people suffering. Lord, your eyes cannot see that. You are full of compassion for your own blood-washed people. Your eyes cannot see their suffering. Near Sutta Kannar. Nobody else is Kanna. Our God is Kanna. And canst not look on iniquity. Wherefore lookest thou upon them that didst treacherously, and holdest the tongue when the wicked devoured the man that is more righteous than he. Now it's a beautiful prayer. Lord, Chaldeans are very wicked. How can you allow those Chaldeans to come and punish these Jews comparatively better than the Chaldeans? You are allowing evil to set right evil, Lord. Are you not with purer eyes? How can you see this wickedness? What is that wickedness? Greater wickedness to subdue wickedness. This is God's righteousness. In many times we see people leading a wicked life, dealing treacherously at one point of time. I don't know why I say this. God permits greater wickedness to subdue them. Now Christians, they never worried about the law. They never worried about the judgment. They never worried about the truth. Christianity has become a money-making machine. It has become an agenda to earn more money, fightings. Fighting amongst the pastor. One pastor desiring the destruction of another pastor. One church desiring the destruction of another church. Church against the church. Evil. God's doctrines are thrown out. In the name of orphanages, in the name of Bible colleges. People were swindling money. The Lord permits greater evil to punish these Christians. The Lord will bring a government that will come against the churches. God in His righteousness brings a government, a very fearsome, kedidum bayangaramumana, fearsome, dreadful government to punish Christians, to punish pastors, come against the so-called orphanages and Bible colleges, not to help the poor, not to teach the word of God, avenues to swindle money. God will bring a greater evil. You read from verse 12. The treacherous people, they'll come and build what is not them. They don't have mercy. They don't spare whether good or bad, old or young. When God was revealing this to Jeremiah, Habakkuk, the problem was greater. Lord, will you allow the wicked to punish somebody who is more righteous than this wicked, or less wicked than the greater wicked? And when the greater wicked will punish the lesser wicked, these fearsome and dreadful people come and punish some erring Christians, those who know your name, those who are baptized, those who receive the Holy Spirit. When you allow these fearsome and dreadful people to come and punish them, will you hold your tongue? Will you keep quiet, O Lord? Will you keep quiet, O Lord? A believer, her children, his children, their children are torturing them. The Lord will permit somebody who is greater wicked to punish that child. A man is mercilessly beating his wife, accusing her. No peace in the family. The wife is praying for him. God has got a way to deal it. The Lord will permit greater wickedness to punish that evil man. Whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. Habakkuk perplexed. In verse 16, Habakkuk says, therefore, they sacrifice unto their net and burn incense unto their drag. Their net, those evil people, their devices. They do puja to their gods. They believe their gods are helping them to punish these God's people. They do pujas to their evil work. They give sacrifices to their nets and burn incense unto their drag. What is their drag? Punishing God's people, God's chosen generation, the apple of God's eye. My dear brother, my dear sister, though he was perplexed, though he could not understand, he took a resolution that's very, very powerful. Chapter 2, verse 1. He had a resolution. I will stand upon my watch. I'll continue to wait for the Lord and set me upon the tower, my prayer, and will watch to see what he will say unto me. I'm worried. I don't understand, but I'll wait to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. I think, Lord, why are you doing like this? But what I'm thinking is not right. The Lord will correct me. I am waiting for that. When he came to that situation where he could wait for the Lord to correct him, verse 2, the Lord answered him and said. Now the Lord answered him and said, look, behold, the soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. They think no evil will come. Hey, what can they do to me? Hey, what this government can do? If it is a Congress government, I'll go and fall at his feet. If it's a BJP government, I will go and fall at their feet. Nobody can do anything against me. Their soul is lifted up. And their soul is lifted up. And it's not upright in him. It's not upright. Okay, don't worry about those people. It's not upright. There he says, but even in this situation, when everything is bleak, when everything is contrary, when the Lord is allowing a fearsome people, fearsome and dreadful people to punish God's people, the wicked God's people, nevertheless, even in that situation, the just shall live by faith. Shall we clap our hands and worship the Lord? This is the background in which the Lord says, the just shall live by his faith. Briefly, I tell you 4 things, what the Lord showed to me, how the just shall live by faith. Number one, your attitude. Your attitude towards crisis, your attitude towards God's judgment, your attitude to God's dealings, your attitude, how do you look at it? How do you look at your perception? Is very, very important for you to live by faith. If you yield to these questions, you cannot live by faith. You'll get confused, confounded, perplexed, perturbed. But if you have a right attitude, then you can live by faith. We already read from verse 1 to 4. Habakkuk the prophet had a great burden, and there was evil. His prayers are not answered. He sees evil, evil upon evil, and righteous. The wicked people encompass about the righteous. No judgment, no justice, no law. He was confused. He didn't know why God was not answering. And from verse 12, when God answered, he could not understand why God was dealing like this. First 4 verses, he didn't understand why God was not answering. Verse 11, when God answered, he didn't understand why God was dealing like this. That's exactly our problem. Many times we don't understand why God was dealing like this. Against his background, what is his attitude? What is his attitude? Verse 1, chapter 2, I will stand upon my watch. Because I am confused, or because I didn't understand, because I am confounded, I will not sway away. I will stand upon my watch, my prayer, my eyes upon the Lord. I will stand upon prophesying. That was his ministry. He is a watchman. He has to see what's coming, what the Lord is going to do. He was confused, but he was not getting into a negative attitude. He says, I will stand upon my watch. God is not answering prayers. You don't understand the way in which God deals things. But I tell you, stand upon your watch. Be firm on your watch. In your prayer. It is watch and pray. I don't know why always people say close our eyes and pray. The Bible says watch and pray. Be watchful. It doesn't mean I say you have to keep your eyes open, but watch what's happening. What's happening to these wicked people? When I say the wicked people, the wicked Christians. Those who pervert the word of God. Those who make religion an agenda to swindle money. Watch and see. Watch and see. Watch and pray. Stand firm on your watch. You can't afford to have your eyes closed and pray. I remember a jokeless story. There are two patients in a hospital. One was highly diabetic and he was under high, diet, a very strict diet. There was another patient by his bed. He was brought for some surgery and he needed more blood and strength. And high protein diet was given to him to increase his stamina before the surgery. So it was a very tempting situation for this diabetic patient. A day before the surgery of that second patient, they brought some delicious food and there was some 2 pieces of chicken fry, full pieces of chicken fry. So the other person started saying his prayer for those chicken fry. And it was a greater temptation for this fellow. So he took one chicken, one piece of chicken and kept it in his cupboard, locker. That fellow finished his long prayer, opened his eyes and saw one piece chicken was missing. He asked the other fellow, "Hey, did you see one piece of chicken is missing?" He said, "That's what Jesus said, watch and pray." How can you afford to keep your eyes closed and pray? Watch and pray, otherwise chicken will be missing. My dear brother, my dear sister, I will stand on my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me. What he will say unto me. What he will preach to me. The literal meaning, the Lord will preach to me. The Lord will expound the truth to me. What the Lord will say to me. It was very encouraging. One brother told me, when you are preaching, it is to me like what my father is talking to me. My father is talking to me. Some people say, "Lord, what will you speak to me today? What will you speak to me today?" So with that anxiety, prayer is not I am speaking to God. Prayer is God speaking to me. Prayer is not what I speak to God. I speak to God, I speak to God, I speak to God. It's only a one-way communication. Even in some families we could see that. Very loving couple. But only the wife will be speaking. When he just opens his mouth to say something, konja cholren kelunga. Then he will again be quiet. She'll speak for another half an hour. Just she'll take a breath. Then he thought he could just say something. Porunga na solren. So the whole time will finish with her talking to him. Patiently listening to her. No use. He was waiting in prayer what God will speak to me. What God will preach to me. In your prayer, God should preach to you. Preaching will always have instruction. Preaching will always have reproof. Podaga sitchai. I think it's Proverbs 6:23. Podaga sitchai. A preaching without reproof is not at all a preaching. A correction must be there in preaching. The reproof of preaching. Podaka Sitcha. What the Lord will preach to me. And he continues, and what shall I answer when I am reproved? When he reproves me. What is reproof? Kandikkirathu. Reproof. Kadindu kolrathu. And yesterday for the first time, I wanted to see the real meaning of that English word, reprove. 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 In that word, we see something called proof, or to prove it. So I wanted to know what is the Hebrew word used here. Because in English it is translated reprove. Reprove, reproof. I see something called proof there. So what is that Hebrew word used? It was very interesting to see. The word reprove here literally means proving with conviction to bring correction by producing evidences and arguments. The mother is telling the son, don't do it. It is order. Don't do it. Don't go there. It's a type of a parent chauvinism. As we say, male chauvinism, parent chauvinism. I say don't go, don't go. That's not the right attitude. The mother or the father reproves the child. Reproves the child means, in Tamil, kandikkiram. Kandikkirathu is different from kandikkirathu. I remember once I was explaining that thandana is different, kandana is different. Thandikkirathu is giving pain for the wrong. Giving pain for the wrong, that's punishment. Retribution. Punishment, penalty. Chastising, reproving is not punishing for the wrong. What is reproving? It is proving with conviction. I can prove why you should not do. I tell my son, hey, don't go there. I'm daddy telling you, don't go there. That is parent chauvinism. I tell them, son, because of such and such reason, don't go there. That's reproving. Those who understand, lift up your hands. Hallelujah. Only 2-3 people. Others don't understand. Reproving, you must be able to give a proof. Why are you saying this? Son, I tell you, don't go there because of such and such reason. Other is the upper hand of the father. Hey, I tell you, don't go. Reproving is proving with conviction. I am convinced. The father is convinced. To bring correction. I want to bring correction to my son. I want to bring correction to the believer. What you are doing is wrong. What you are saying is wrong. I reprove you. I shout at you. I tell you firmly. Because I am convinced. If you do this, finally you will suffer. You don't come in time. You are not honoring God. You will suffer. I am convinced. If you don't honor God, God cannot honor you. I am convinced. And I show you a Bible text how you should honor God. So proving with a conviction to bring correction by producing evidences and arguments. I give you evidences. See, that man honored God. God honored him. See, he didn't honor God. You know how he suffers. It is said in the Bible, showing evidences and argument. So he says, I'll wait and see how the Lord will reprove me. What is this very great attitude? I am wrong. I don't understand. Why God is not answering me? Why God is allowing the evil to punish lesser evil. I don't understand. I don't understand God's dealings. Why should the Lord allow the wicked to encompass about the righteous? Why the Lord is not answering my prayer? I don't understand. They are doing puja to their evil thing. They think punishing the righteous is their God's blessing on them. They are doing pujas to their nets. And the Lord is keeping quiet. I don't understand. But my attitude, the Lord is right. I am wrong. He is always right. I may not understand His ways. I will wait for Him to correct me. I will wait for Him to give me right thought. Now I don't understand. But when He corrects me, I will understand. He must be right. For you to live by faith, you must have this right attitude about God. We read in Job chapter 40, verses 3 and 4. Job 40, verses 3 and 4. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Lord, look, behold, I am vile, I am bad. What shall I answer thee? What can I tell you, Lord? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. Why moody grandpa? Why moody grandpa? What can I say? The Lord is right. I don't understand. I may not understand how a computer works. I may not understand the chip system. I may not understand how a rocket is shot. I may not understand how the earth hangs in atmosphere. I may not understand many things. Lord, I'll keep my mouth shut. You are great. Job chapter 42, from verse 1. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, you can do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not. I understood not. Things too wonderful for me. The ways are too wonderful for me to understand, which I know not. I always say, under rationalism, the greatest understanding is to understand that I cannot understand everything. The moment at one point of time somebody thinks that he can understand everything, he lifts up his heart and he cannot be upright within him. He lifts up his heart and he cannot be upright within him. He is foolish. He thinks he can understand everything. You ask 2 or 3 questions, we'll know that he hasn't understood anything. The greatest understanding is I cannot understand. I understand that I cannot understand everything. Maybe at a higher point, I may understand little more. Then also I cannot understand everything. In Standard 5, they teach mensuration in arithmetic. The area of a circle, they say pi r square. What is pi r square? What is pi? I don't understand. Pi is 22 by 7. Why should pi be 22 by 7? Why should pi be 22 by 7? Hey, listen, that is 22 by 7. Probably the teacher who is handling Standard 5 may not be a mathematical giant. He may not also be able to help that little boy with that question. When he doesn't understand, does it mean mathematics is wrong? He asked Solomon, what is pi? King Solomon would say pi is 3. Solomon would say pi is 3. And he asked today's, maybe a school maths teacher, what is pi? A maths teacher today may say 3.14. So is this maths teacher better than Solomon? Solomon said 3. This maths teacher says 3.14. You go for higher education. They say it's an infinite integer. It's not 3.14. It'll go like this, 3.14, etc., etc., etc. Who is better? Solomon, or the 5th standard teacher, or the high school teacher? You study calculus. In calculus, they say pi is a radiant measure. I stop with this. I don't want to confuse you more. If a 5th standard boy says, if I don't understand what is pi, why it is called pi, why we got 2 lines and a bar on the top of it, unless I don't understand all these things, I don't believe the teacher. That boy cannot study mathematics. He should understand that I cannot understand now. Probably later I can understand it. Even then I cannot have a total understanding. I will have understanding in progression. At one point of time, I will see that as I should see it. Your attitude to live by faith is not irrational. Living by faith is not irrational. Living by faith is 100% rational. I understand that I cannot understand everything. I understand God is always right. I understand that God will correct me. I understand God will show to me what I should do. When he comes to that understanding, the second point I'll call action. For you to live by faith. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. I given you a vision. Chaldeans will come and punish these people of Judah, the land of Judah. Write it. Whether you believe it or not. Whether you not believe it. Whether you can understand or not, write it. Preach on it. Speak about it. The whole people will be against you. If you want to live by faith, write my vision. What I have shown to you. I have shown to you that the Chaldeans, many times people will take this as a different way, but prophetically here, he talks about the vision, the Chaldeans coming against the land of Judah. Write upon it. Write the vision and make it plain. Make it plain, make it clear. This will happen. They may stone at you, they may kill you, whatever they do. If you want to live by faith, whatever the Lord reveals, believe that and act on it. Write this vision, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. You write it so big, so clear, even that is running can just read and go. You're giving that advertisement. It's not only somebody who stands and reads. Even while he's running, he can just read and go. So make it very clear. This is the truth. Whether you receive it or not. This is going to happen. Speak it out. Speak out what the Lord has told you. What the Lord has revealed to you. Make it plain. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. Because it will surely come, it will not tarry. There he says in verse 4, look, the soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. What you are saying? This all will not come. This all will not come. Take this Jeremiah and put it in the bottomless pit. Stupid fellow, he is confusing everybody. Our God will not forsake us. Our God will not leave us. The soul that is lifted up within is not upright within him. You write it. Do what the Lord wants you to do. The Lord wants you to fast and pray. The The Lord wants you to sit in a corner and weep, sit in a corner and weep. The Lord tells you, go and speak, speak. The Lord tells you, be quiet, be quiet. Whatever the Lord says, you do it. There he says, the righteous shall live by his faith. Number one, your right attitude with God. Number two, your right response, your action to what God tells you. Thereby, the righteous shall live by his faith. Number three, chapter 3, verse 2. In chapter 2, in the remaining part, as a commentary, just to say a word. Habakkuk was speaking about how the Lord would also punish the Chaldeans finally. The Lord is not going to leave the Chaldeans unpunished. The Lord will punish the Chaldeans. And when you read from verse in chapter 2, he speaks about 5 woes. Woe unto them, like 5 woes. That will constitute another message. If you want, you can take that for a sermon. That will constitute another message. Now, we don't have time for that. So when the Lord was revealing to him, in the last verse, when the Lord was revealing him to him, verse 20, he says, but the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. You know, we cannot shout against him. We cannot shout against him. When he knew the Lord is allowing the wicked to punish the erring Jews, he didn't stop his prayer. Abraham prayed. Prayed for Lot. Though he was erring righteous man. Erring righteous man. He was a righteous man. But there were 7 mistakes in Lot. I don't want to take that. That's another sermon. But Abraham interceded for him. Abraham interceded for him. He took boldness to talk to God. So when we know God is going to punish, okay, Lord, punish them. But we cannot change God's hand. Here we see 2 sides. We accept God is right, but there's mercy and compassion in our heart. So in chapter 3, there we see his prayer, verse 2. O Lord, I heard thy speech. You know what you preached to me? I heard thy speech, and I was afraid. You're going to do this for the people of Judah. The Chaldeans will come and kill the pregnant women. They'll rip open their womb. They'll take the children and they smash their heads against rock. They'll take all our women naked to Babylon. All our mighty men, they will be shackled. Our palaces will be destroyed. They'll make it heap of rubbish. I heard thy speech, O Lord. You're righteous, God. The children will be dashed against their rock. You're righteous. The pregnant women, their womb will be ripped open. You're righteous. I don't understand. It's painful. I heard thy speech, thy preaching, and I was afraid. O Lord, O Lord, O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the year. I don't know where the Lord has been. Just now I'm thinking, we are in the midst of the year, the 7th month. 6 months have gone away. Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the year. You know, it's maybe prophetic. Cry unto the Lord. For your children, for your husband, for the church, for the Christendom. Already a fearsome and dreadful people are spreading this country. Worship places are getting destroyed. Their forces are given lathis, weapons to protect them. But certainly it will be used against those who are against them, or those who are not for them. They'll tell you, if you don't follow us, go and jump into the sea. Go, suicide yourself, commit suicide. It's better committing suicide than we are killing you. Go, jump into the sea. Our children, our grandchildren. When we say there is peace, 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 suddenly the devourer will come. I know the Lord is right. I will do what the Lord wants me to do. I will write it out. I will preach on it. But in my private chamber, I will cry unto the Lord, Lord, in the midst of the year, revive thy work, O Lord. In the midst of the years, make known in wrath, remember mercy. Your wrath is right, O Lord. You are sending the right people to correct erring people, O Lord. You are right. In the midst of your judgment, remember your mercy, O Lord. As you are sitting, lift up your hands and pray this prayer one time. For your children, for the children of your children. One side ISIS, fearsome and dreadful people, invading the land. You read chapter 2. Exactly, word by word it is given. What will they do? In chapter 1, from verse 12 also. Lord, Father God, remember your mercy, O Lord. I don't have time to read all the verses. Verse 13. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for the salvation of thy anointed. Thou wentest forth. With tears I say, Lord, you went to cross, not for the destruction of your people, O Lord, for the salvation of your people. You died on the cross for the salvation of your anointed, O Lord. Have mercy upon them. You believe that still God can show mercy. You are living by your faith. One who lives by his faith, he will intercede for others. One who lives by his faith, he will understand God. One who lives by his faith, he will act on God's word. One who lives by his faith, he will intercede for the perishing ones. Finally, chapter 3, verse 16 down. His acclamation. Let's just read and conclude. When I heard, my belly trembled. They cut the head of 42 Christians. They crucified 16 people. The children were shot at point blank. The children were taken by their feet and their head was dashed against rocks. When I heard, my belly trembled. When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice of rottenness. Rottenness entered my bones. I could not stand. Rottenness entered my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I must rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops. In Syria, or maybe in some other place, they invade them with their troops. Oh, we will take Tamil Nadu. We'll invade this country. We'll invade Pakistan. Prophetically, he will invade them with his troops. When I heard, my belly trembled. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in this wine, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the field shall yield no meat. The flocks shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. The just shall live by faith. Everything seems to be negative. In the name of Jesus, I tell you, he is still on the throne. 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 He knows everything. His eyes on the sparrow. No hair will fall without his knowledge. I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. I'm going to tell you two important things. In all these situations, the Lord God, Yahweh God, is my strength. Yahweh God is my strength. Put your left hand on your chest. Lift your right hand up. Tell the Lord, Lord, you are my strength. Open your mouth and confess it. You are my strength. You are my strength. You are my strength. I just give you two promises. With that, he concludes that book. He will make my feet like hinds' feet. He will make my feet like hinds' feet. I will not fall. Let come what may. In the name of Jesus of Nazareth, I tell you, he will make your feet like hinds' feet. அவரின் கால்களை மான் கால்களை போலாக்குவார். விசுவாசிக்கிறவங்க கரங்களை தட்டி கர்த்தரை ஸ்தோத்திரிங்க பார்க்கலாம். He will make your feet like hinds' feet, and he will make you walk upon your high places. You will not be defeated. You will not be defeated. You will not be thrown down. Let 1,000 come on one side, 10,000 on the other side. Your eyes shall see. They'll go in. They'll run away even 7 ways. No weapon, in the name of Jesus I tell you, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. No sickness, no pain, no agony. None of the devices of the devil shall prosper against you. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. He will make you ride upon the high places, walk upon the high places. How can I walk upon the high places? He will make your feet strong, your faith life strong. You will not be humbled. You will not tumble down. Those who believe, clap your hands and worship the Lord. You will not fall down. He will make your confession strong. He will make your ministry strong. He will make your faith strong. He will make you walk on your high places. How is it possible? He will make your feet like hinds' feet. The righteous shall live by his faith. Number one, when you got the right attitude, you shall live by faith. Number two, when you act as the Lord wants you to act, you shall live by faith. Number three, when you got a burden for the perishing ones, the love constraining you to intercede to God, you shall live by faith. Number three, when you know the Lord is your strength, you know the Lord will not leave you nor forsake you. When you know the Lord is on your side, when you know the Lord is still on the throne, when you know the name and the power of the Lord, when you know the Lord is your strength, you shall live by faith. He will make your feet like hinds' feet, and he will make you ride on the high places of the earth. Shall we pray?